comfortably, legs either out in front or crossed. Just sitting nice and comfortable. And just take a moment, close your eyes. It's always good to close your eyes so that you can check in to see how you're feeling. Just doing a scan of your body, noticing any tight spots, any areas that you need to be gentle with today. Please listen to your body. And then we'll just flutter our eyes open. We're going to bring our fingertips to the floor this morning, reaching up with the left arm up towards the ceiling, getting nice and tall. And then we're going to slowly come over towards the right. So creating some space in your ribs, taking a few moments to breathe into that space. And then slowly coming back to center. Let's take the right hand to the left knee, left hand behind, looking over your left shoulder. Reaching the top of your head up towards the ceiling. And then slowly coming back to center. Let's fold forward just to see how the hips are feeling. Letting your head relax, taking a few breaths. And then slowly coming back up. And let's change our legs. So if they're crossed, bringing the other leg out in front. Bringing those fingertips back to the mat. We'll reach up with the right arm, getting it nice and long and tall. And then just walking your fingers over, coming over to the left. Taking a few moments to stretch out your side body. And then coming back to center, let's bring the left hand to the right knee, right hand behind, looking over your right shoulder, getting your spine nice and long. And then coming back to center again, let's fold forward just to see how this side feels. Noticing any differences from this side to the other. And then slowly coming back up. We're going to come all the way onto our hands and knees. Coming into table position. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, fingers nice and wide. Let's do a few cat-cows just to get that spine moving. So as you exhale, coming into a nice round black cat. And then as you inhale, letting your belly sink down into a sway back cow as your head and tailbone come up. So just moving back and forth a few more times. Seeing how that feels for you this morning. And then coming back to center, we're going to reach the right toes out behind us and just gently pumping our heel. Waking up the calves this morning. And then lifting your leg up so it's parallel to the floor, pulling your belly button in towards your spine. We're going to lift that leg up and down, keeping your nose down towards the mat so your neck is nice and long. And then bending your knee so your foot is flat to the ceiling. Let's lift this leg up and down. Keeping that belly button pulling in, getting those legs toned for bikini season. And then as you exhale, let's bring the nose to the knee, rounding your spine. Inhale, stretching the legs straight out. Moving back and forth. Let's do 3 more. Beautiful. Let's bring that knee back down and we'll do the other side. Left toes down on the mat, just gently moving back and forth, stretching out the calves. And then lifting your leg up parallel to the mat. Let's take that leg up and down, heels pushing out, toes are pointing down. And then just bending your knee, foot flat to the ceiling. Let's lift it up and down. And as you exhale, we'll bring the knee to the nose, rounding your spine. Inhale, stretching it out. 3 more. Moving with your breath. Beautiful. Let's bring that knee back down, taking a moment in child's pose just to give those wrists a little bit of a rest. You can even make some circles with your wrists. Maybe bringing your palms together and bringing those hands up behind your head. And then bring your hands back out. Let's come back into our table position, getting the wrists back underneath the shoulders. Let's curl the toes, coming into our downward facing dog. Maybe bending one knee and then the other. Taking it slow. And then bringing both heels towards the floor, hips rising up a little bit higher, head in between your arms. Taking a look at your day upside down. And let's slowly walk those feet up to the top of the mat. You can bend your knees a little bit here as you hang over, maybe swaying from side to side. And then coming back to center, back to stillness. Bending your knees a little bit more, we'll slowly roll ourselves up. Keeping the chin tucked until you're feeling stable and then letting your shoulders roll down your back. Standing in mountain pose, feeling your feet nice and solid on the mat. Maybe lift your toes and then set them back down. Just feel those toes gripping into the mat. Shoulders roll back, ears above your shoulders. And just connecting with your breath, checking in on the quality of that breath. And then on an inhale, let's reach the arms all the way up towards the ceiling. Taking hold of your right wrist, pulling it up and coming over to the left. Nice big stretch for the whole side body. And then back to center, let's take hold of the left wrist, pulling it up and coming over to the right. Taking a couple breaths here and then coming back to center, letting your arms just float down nice and slow. Beautiful. Let's inhale all the way back up. And then bring your arms into a cactus shape. So having your arms like this. And we're going to inhale and just opening our chest up towards the sun. And then exhale, bringing the elbows together. Inhale, opening up. And exhale together. Once more. Inhale, letting that sunshine in and together. And we'll sweep the arms all the way back up to the ceiling, bringing the palms together, and let's slowly lower ourselves down over those hips. And just seeing how it feels to have your legs maybe a little bit straighter. We're going to take the right leg and stretch it back, bringing the knee down to the mat, flattening out your foot and just sinking into the hips. See how that feels on this right side, stretching out that psoas muscle. And then maybe bringing your hands to your left knee, sinking in a little bit deeper. And if you're feeling up for it, you can squeeze those thighs together, reach the arms all the way up towards the ceiling, looking up. Breathing all the way down into the belly. And then bring your hands back down to the floor. Let's curl the back toe, lift that knee. We're going to bring the left foot back to meet the right. So coming into plank, if it works for you, if it's too intense, you can always bring your knees down to the mat. But if you can keep your knees up, just making sure that you have a nice long line, pulling that belly button in towards your spine. And then we'll all bring our knees down to the floor and then bend your elbows, lowering yourself to the mat, flattening out your feet. And with your hands just underneath your shoulders, elbows tucked in, let's come up into a little baby cobra. And back down. Let's do two more like that. Lifting as you inhale and lowering as you exhale. Always listening to your body. And then we'll push ourselves all the way back into our child's pose, taking a moment here. And then as you exhale back into our table position, we'll curl the toes under and coming back into our downward facing dog. See if you can get your heels towards the floor as your hips rise up. Taking a couple breaths, you might even want to sigh it out here. And then we'll walk those feet back up to the top of the mat, hanging out over the hips. Let's squeeze those thighs together to protect our lower back. Reach the arms nice and big and wide all the way up to the ceiling. And then bringing them back to our heart. Beautiful. Let's do the other side. Inhale, reaching up. Keeping your palms facing each other. We're going to do a slight back bend here. So just tipping your chest forward and up. And then bringing it back to center, bringing your palms together and slowly lowering yourself back to the floor. And this time we'll come halfway up as we inhale, hands coming on your shins, and exhale, lower. Taking the left leg behind you, knee onto the floor, sinking into the low lunge. See how this side feels. And then we'll bring both hands to that right knee, maybe sinking in a little bit deeper. If you'd like, you can reach the arms all the way up to the ceiling. And then bringing them back down to the mat. Curling your back toe, let's lift that knee up, coming into our high lunge. And then take the right foot back to meet the left, back to plank pose. Nice, long, strong body. And you can either bring your knees down to the floor to come down onto the mat, or you can just tip forward, bend your elbows and lower. Flattening out those feet, coming into our little baby cobra again. And this time, curling your toes, let's come back right into our downward dog. And taking those feet back to the top of the mat. Folding over your hips. Squeezing the thighs, let's reach all the way up. And bringing your hands back down to your heart. We're going to do that on the other side. So inhale, reaching up, palms facing each other. And as you exhale, slight back bend, heart to the sky. Reaching back up and lowering down. And as you inhale, coming halfway up and lower. Taking your right leg back, knee comes to the ground. Let's flatten that foot and reach the arms all the way up. And then back to the floor, curling your back toe. Lift your knee and coming back into plank pose. Taking a breath here. And then bringing yourself down to the mat. And if you'd like, you can come into an upward facing dog, bringing your knees off the floor. And then curl your toes, coming back into downward facing dog. And let's bring those feet back up to the top of the mat, squeezing those thighs, reaching up. And back to your heart. Taking a moment, just feeling that heart beating against your thumbs. And we'll do one more on the other side. So when you're ready, reach those arms all the way up. Nice slight back bend, reaching back up. And exhale, folding down. Taking a breath halfway up and lower. Left leg comes back, knee to the ground, flatten your foot and reaching those arms up. And back down to the mat. Let's curl the back toe. Taking the right leg back into our plank pose. And lowering yourself nice and safely down to the mat. Coming into our up dog if you'd like. And then back into our downward facing dog. Taking a moment to rest here. And then bring your knees back to the mat. Let's stretch back into child's pose. Really connecting back to the earth. And then we'll come back up. Let's swing our legs around. Stretching those legs out in front of you. And maybe pointing and flexing your toes. Beautiful. And taking those ankles in circles. If your lower back is a little tender today, you can always bend your knees a little bit. Feels okay. Sitting up nice and tall, legs stretched out. Let's reach all the way up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, we're going to fold forward. And then inhale, reaching back up. Breathing and getting long. And exhale, fold. Moving with your breath. And we'll do one more like this, reaching up. And as you exhale, just letting your hands end up wherever they are. Taking a few moments just to hang out here. And then slowly coming back up. Shoulders roll back. Let's bring that right leg in. And just crossing it over, so you're sitting up nice and tall. We'll take the left arm around and hug that knee in towards our chest. Reach the right arm up towards the ceiling and then setting it down behind you as you look over the right shoulder. And just taking a few moments here as you reach your head up a little higher. And then slowly unwind. Let's stretch that leg out. We'll bring the left leg in and crossing it over. Sitting up nice and tall, bringing the right arm around this time, hugging that knee in. Left arm reaches up and setting it down, looking over the left shoulder. Reaching your crown up a little higher. And then slowly unwind. Let's stretch those legs back out, give them a little shake. And we're going to lay all the way down onto the mat. Maybe lift your hips and set them back down, getting your spine nice and long. Taking your right foot to the ceiling, you can point your toes, maybe make some circles with your ankles. And then the other direction. And with your toes pointed, let's see about making circles on the ceiling. So starting out small and getting bigger and bigger. And when you have a nice big circle, you can take it in the other direction. Starting out nice and big and getting smaller and smaller until you just have a little dot. And then resting your right ankle onto your left knee. Just letting that right knee relax away from the body. And if you find this is a good enough stretch for your hips, you can just stay like this. If you'd like to take it a little bit deeper, you can take your hands, thread them through, take hold of the left knee from behind, and slowly bring that left knee towards your chest. If you're feeling any tension in that right knee, just flex your right foot to protect it. Just breathing down into any tension, any tightness. Beautiful. Let's release the hands, bringing the left foot back to the floor, right foot follows. And then we'll reach the left toes to the ceiling, pointing them and just making some circles to start with your ankles. And then the other direction. And with your toes pointed, let's paint some spirals on the ceiling, getting them bigger and bigger. And when you have a nice big circle, you can take it in the other direction, getting smaller and smaller. And then resting that left ankle on your right knee, letting the left knee just relax out. And we'll slowly bring the hands through and bring the right knee into your chest. Seeing how this side feels. And just using your breath to ease away any tension, any stress from the left hip. And then release your hands. Let's bring our feet back down to the mat. Taking those feet out to the edges of your mat, we'll just let the knees go from side to side, nice and gentle. And then coming back to center, bringing those knees back together, feet coming back together, and setting your heels up underneath your knees. Hands down by your sides. And as you exhale, pushing into the heels, lifting up your hips, making sure your neck feels okay here, chin tucking in towards your chest. Feel the weight in your heels as you hold those hips up. And let's maybe bring that right foot up towards the ceiling this morning. And then setting it back down, pushing into both heels, lifting the hips. And then we'll take the left toes up to the ceiling. Taking a breath or two. And then setting that left foot back down, pushing into both heels. And let's slowly lower the spine back down to the mat. Feeling that beautiful support of the floor. We'll take our arms and stretch them out into a T shape. We're going to lift the hips just a few inches and send them over to the left. And then letting your knees just float down towards the right. And take your head in the opposite direction of your knees. Allowing your back to relax and to unlock. And then slowly bringing your head and your knees back to center, bringing the knees in for a hug, and just rocking from side to side. And then we'll bring the feet back down to the mat, arms back out. Let's lift the hips a few inches, sending them a little bit over to the right. And then letting your knees just fall gently to the left. Taking your head in the opposite direction, making any adjustments so that it feels right for you and that your shoulders are resting on the floor. Imagine breathing all the way down to the base of your spine. Just letting go. And then bringing your knees back to center, head back to center. A hand on each knee. Let's make some circles. And then the other direction. And stretching your legs out nice and long, taking your arms overhead. Bringing a nice full breath into your belly. Maybe letting out a sigh as you exhale. And then letting your arms just float down by your sides. Let's take a moment to relax in corpse pose. toes. Hands can be facing up, feet extending out. Close your eyes. And just focus on the flow of your breath. Noticing the quality of your breath. Noticing where it's flowing to. Just imagine that inhale flowing all the way down to your toes, all the way to your fingertips. Feeling your toes and your legs, your fingers and your arms relaxing as you exhale. Feeling that energy flowing through your body. Feeling alive and ready to take on your day. Just slowly wiggling your fingers and toes. Maybe bring your knees into your chest and wrap your arms around, rocking from side to side. And then slowly just making your way all the way back up to sitting. Once you are sitting upright, close your eyes for a moment. And then bring your left hand to your heart center and your right hand out. So as we give, so we shall receive. Take a nice big breath in and do a nice Om. So taking a breath in. Beautiful. Bringing your hands together at your heart center. May you have a beautiful, beautiful day today. Namaste.